Welcome to our evening yin practice. So let's get started. So onto your back. And to start with a stretch. So arms overhead, just lengthen the whole body and relax. Maybe just wiggle your shoulders. Maybe roll your legs in and out. Just give the body a little bit of a shake and then relax. So find a comfortable position, whether the legs are straight or the knees are bent, it doesn't matter. Make sure that you're comfortable. And we're simply going to focus on the breath, but the breath in the way that it can release and let us relax. So just start by connecting to the breath and focusing on the flow of your breath, the inhales and the exhales. And now start to just let go of any tension with every exhale. So breath by breath, using the exhale as a release. So in and out through the nose. But feel the release with every exhale. Feel how the body just lets go, relaxes, becomes a little heavier on the floor. So use your breath. You can imagine that every exhale, you're just breathing out anything you don't need, any tension in the physical body, any tension in the mind. So every exhale, you're just releasing that a little bit at a time. The body's becoming more and more relaxed, and the mind is becoming more and more settled. If you have a lot going on in your life right now, it can be difficult to settle the mind. Connecting to the breath can be very helpful. Finding a little more softness with every exhale. If you're feeling tension in any areas of your body, visualize sending your inhale there. And then with your exhale, you're letting that tension go bit by bit. Visualization is something that not everybody can do. So you can just bring your awareness there. So if you're feeling tension in your left hip, bring your awareness to the left hip and just imagine that the breath is going there on an inhale. And then with the exhale, just letting go, releasing the tension. Maybe it's your neck. It's feeling your shoulders that are feeling a little tense. Breath by breath, just letting go. Let the exhales relieve that tension. And again, as I mentioned, same thing with the mind. If you have a lot going on in your mind right now, let the exhales take that away. So breath by breath, let every exhale just relieve some of that mental tension. So you're settling your attention on your breath rather than on your thoughts. So you may need to focus on a certain area of the body for several rounds of breath, and then maybe focus on what's happening in the mind for a few rounds of breath. You don't need to do all of this at once. So focus on a tense area of the body or whatever's going on in the mind. And if you're feeling quite relaxed, if the mind's feeling pretty calm, then just every exhale, let your whole body sink a little bit more into the mat. Just a few more rounds of breath, just completely letting go. Notice if the breath has become smoother, more smooth, and deeper. We're working with the breath in this way, just with focusing on the breath, focusing on the exhale, letting the tension go with the exhale. It's going to allow you to slow the breath down, to make it more smooth, to deepen the breath. So notice if your breath has become rhythmic. So when we're in our yin poses this evening, we'll be working with this technique. So just using the exhales to let go of the tension in the physical body, to let go of the tension in the mind. So we'll just be exploring how we can do that with the breath, how we can use the exhale to let go, to release, to relax. And then this is something you can do in your daily life off your yoga mat if you're feeling tension in the physical body, or if your mind is busy, or if you have a lot of stress going on in your life. You can use the exhale to help you relieve the stress, to help you relieve the physical tension. Now we'll transition to a seated position. So you can take your time to do that. When you're ready, you can just roll to your side and stay there for a moment. So no rush, take your time, just take a few breaths on your side. And then when you're ready, you can make your way up to seated. So we're going to come into Dragonfly. You may or may not choose to sit on a prop for Dragonfly. If you're using a prop, I'm just going to move my cushion out of the way here. If you're using a prop, it would be a thinner yoga block, or a blanket. A folded blanket can be nice here as well. So Dragonfly, the legs are wide and we'll be coming forward. So if this is not going to work for you, an alternative would be to have the knees bent with the feet turned out a little bit, and just to round yourself forward between your legs. So you'll still be getting the rounding into the lower back, and you'll still be getting a little bit into the legs. So this might be a little more accessible for some people. And again, here you could sit on a prop to help you come forward a little bit more. So we want to make sure that we're getting into the lower back and into the hips here. So if possible, take the legs out wide. If you find you're doing this, then definitely use a prop to sit on, just to tilt your pelvis forward. I'm not going to use a prop for Dragonfly because I come quite forward in this one. And if I use a prop, it's too much. And then I don't get as much rounding into the lower back, but many people could probably benefit from a prop. So use one if you like. So legs out wide if possible. Remember your modification if this doesn't work for you, but always try the full expression of the pose first, and then you can back off if you find that this is just not going to work for you. So make your legs nice and strong, first of all, and then maybe they can even go a little bit wider. You may need to boost yourself up a little bit, especially if you're not using a prop. You may need to boost yourself up a little bit. Now let your legs relax. So the feet can just relax. Legs relax. Take an inhale. And then on your exhale, just allow yourself to slowly come forward. and relax. So everybody will be different here. If you come quite far forward in this one, you may not get as much rounding into the lower back. If you're up a little bit higher, then the lower back might be more rounded. So everybody will get different degrees of rounding into the lower back here. But even if your back is not really rounded very much and you're coming forward quite far, you're still getting the meridians along the inside of the leg. You're still getting into the hips. So it's still a beneficial pose, whether you get the rounding into the lower back or not. So finding your position, remember your modification if necessary with the knees bent, and just relax. And now start to work with your breath. Start to focus on the exhale. So every exhale, you're releasing a little bit more. Just imagine or visualize a little bit of tension releasing with every breath. So bit by bit, you're letting go of tension. You might feel some tension in the inside of the legs. So bit by bit, releasing that tension with your exhales. If your mind starts to wander, use your exhales, use your breath. So with our inhales, we're bringing in energy, we're bringing in oxygen, we're creating space in the body. And then as we exhale, we can release and settle and relax into that space. And try to have the breath fairly rhythmic and deep without strain. But focus a little more on the effect of the exhale, the releasing effect of the exhale, the letting go. Remember, you're free to leave a pose at any time. Try to stay for as long as possible. If you feel like leaving a pose, then just stop for a moment before you move and just think about why you want to leave the pose. If you're feeling sharp shooting pain or burning pain, or if your body's just telling you very clearly it doesn't like what you're doing, then absolutely you need to come out. But if you're really not sure, if you think it might be just discomfort, or your mind is just not really happy, see if you can breathe through that. See if you can commit to a few more breaths, and maybe some of that sensation might ease off a little bit, and then you can stay a little bit longer. Maybe your mind will start to settle a little bit more into the pose and you won't feel the need to come out. So pain is definitely your ticket out of the pose immediately, or at least to make an adjustment to ease the sensation a little bit, to come into a position that's a little more suitable for you. Discomfort is great. Boredom in the mind, just bring your attention to your breath and to the sensations in your body. Using the breath here, bit by bit, relaxing and releasing. Just a little bit longer here. Now you can slowly make your way up. Stay for a moment upright, fingertips back behind you, keep the legs out wide. Now you can just use your hands to help bring your legs in. And just take your hands back behind you, lean back and relax. We'll come into deer pose. We'll do a couple of different positions in deer pose this evening. So left leg goes back, right shin parallel to the front of the mat if possible. If that bothers your knee, then you can bring the foot a little bit in, so that changing the angle of the front knee there if you need to. So sitting up in deer pose, if you're kind of leaning over and you're having a hard time sitting upright, you may like to tuck a blanket or a towel under this right hip a little bit here, just to help you stay a little more upright. We're going to be coming over to the left. So if you're already leaning to the right, it's going to make it a little harder for you to come to the left. So if you need a prop under the right hip, go ahead. Take your left fingertips out to the side. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, just start to lean to the left, and you can just kind of crawl your hand a little further away and then just stay there and relax. Make sure that you're not straining the arm, so you can let the arm relax. You don't need to extend it. When I said crawl the fingertips away, we still need to make sure that the arm is relaxed here. So if your arm is extended, just let it relax. Slide your hand back a little bit so that the shoulder and the elbow feel relaxed. And make sure that your neck feels okay. So you can move your head a little bit and find a comfortable position for your head and your neck. So we're getting hips here. We're getting into the side of the body. And again here with your breath, with your exhales, you're letting go. With your inhales, you're breathing into the space, maybe the space in the side body here. And as you exhale, you're going to release into that space and maybe coming a bit deeper into the side bend. You can imagine your inhales going into the hips. And as you exhale, you're letting go of tension, you're releasing. Just a little bit longer here. The side bend starts to feel too intense. By all means, bring your body upright if you need to. But if it's discomfort that you're feeling, try to breathe through the discomfort. So you can bring your body upright, and we're going to come right into a twist to the right. So keep your legs as they are, turn your upper body to the right and come forwards. You may need something under your arms if you have a hard time getting all the way down, or if your floor is a little bit hard, you may like something under the arms. Otherwise, you can just come right down to your floor and just relax. If your neck is feeling a little bit sensitive, you can keep the head up, you can let the head drop, or you could even, I have a block handy here, you can even place a block under your forehead if you like, so that you can rest your head and relax your neck, but not have the head dropped all the way forward. So that's another option here. Be aware of your breath. Breathing into the space with your inhales, releasing with your exhales. So stay focused on your breathing. If your mind is wandering, come back to the breath. Releasing a little bit more physical and mental tension with every exhale. So your body settles, muscles are soft, and your mind settles, which allows you to settle into stillness in the pose when your mind is settled. So coming up slowly. Just turn your upper body back to center. Just take your legs out in front. Stay still, relax. Notice any sensations that arise. And then we'll go to the other side. So right leg goes back, left shin, as close as you can get it to parallel with the front of the mat. But again, be careful with the knee. If you start to feel sensation in the knee that doesn't feel so great, then just change the angle of the front leg a little bit. And we'll come into our lateral bend first. So taking an inhale, remember you can slide a prop under the left hip here if you need to. So inhale, lengthen. And as you exhale, just start to creep the right hand out a little bit. But remember, we want this arm to be relaxed. So the elbow can be a little soft, shoulder relaxed. And just settle into your side bend. Move your head around a little bit. Make sure the neck is relaxed. And become aware of your breath. Inhale into the left side of your body. And as you exhale, let go of any tension. Relaxing the muscles. And if you like, you can imagine inhaling into the hips. So you can breathe all the way down into the lungs. Imagine the inhales going into the hips. And then as you exhale, releasing any tension. So using the breath, using the exhale to help you sink even further. Relaxing, releasing, settling into stillness. And also being aware of what's happening in your mind. Your mind is starting to wander off at any point. Use your breath. Use the exhales to release any tension in the mind, to let go of any thoughts that are coming in. You can imagine even with your exhale that you're kind of pushing those thoughts away. So you're letting them come and then just pushing them away. Let the breath be rhythmic, slow and deep. Just a couple more breaths here. Bringing yourself up. Keep your legs as they are. Take an inhale. On your exhale, come into a twist to the left and then come forward down to the elbows if you can. If you need something under your arms, that's fine. If you need something under your head, that's fine. And just relax and breathe. Breathing into the space that you're creating with this pose that you're in. And as you exhale, releasing, letting go, let the muscles relax. Allow your body to soften into this shape, into this pose. Notice what's happening in your mind. Your mind is wandering off. Come back to the breath. If you start to notice some restless tendencies or the urge to fidget, use your breath, use your exhale to kind of dispel that restlessness, the urge to fidget or to move. Committing to stillness regardless of what comes up in the mind or the body, unless it's something that feels painful, then that's never okay. So always listen to your body. Couple more breaths here. Now slowly coming up. Let's take both legs out in front. Just stay still, relax, and notice whatever you feel. Coming on to the belly, we'll come into Sphinx pose. So start with your legs either together or hip distance. If you have back issues, you may prefer them to be hip distance apart, but no wider than that. And elbows back just slightly in front of the shoulders. If that's too strong, then the hands can slide further away. Now let's just make this a little more active for a moment. So take an inhale, tighten up your glutes, lift your heart. As you exhale, soften and release. Relax the glutes. You can take your head to a comfortable position. Shoulders can come up. We're just focusing on the lower back here. Close your eyes if you like. Start to focus on your breath. Inhaling into any areas of tension that you feel. As you exhale, you're letting that go, releasing. Stay aware of what's happening as you stay in this pose. Notice if you start to tighten up anywhere. It's quite normal to tighten up the glutes in this pose. Try to stay relaxed. You can use your breath. If you start to feel that tightness coming in, use your exhale to let it go. If you're feeling sensation in the lower back, that's where you should be feeling this in the lower back. It's compression here, bringing the vertebrae closer together. You can inhale and imagine you're inhaling into the lower back area, creating a little more space, and then exhaling to release. If you'd like to explore taking the legs a bit wider for the last bit of this pose, that's an option. So you can just start to slowly take your legs out as wide as feels okay for you. Let's have a little more space here. It does intensify the pose for many people if you take the legs out wide. So if that's okay, then great. But if you find that's too much, then just bring them back to where they were. Just a little bit longer here. And just slowly come out. So just lower your upper body down. Bring your legs back in. Relax. Now you can make your way to your knees. And take your big toes together. Knees out wide. So they can come as wide as your mat, or they can even come off your mat. If you have a softer floor, a carpet like me, then it might feel okay to take the knees wider. If you have a harder floor, then that might not feel okay. If you can get the knees a little bit wider, that's fine. And we'll come into a twist here. So the right arm extends forward, left arm slides under, trying to get the shoulder to the center of the mat if you can. And then just relax. If you need something under your head, you can rest your head on your arm, or you can have a prop under your head if you need to. Deepening, releasing, and letting go with every exhale. Just a little bit longer on this side. And coming up now, and we'll go the other way. So left arm can slide forward a little bit, right arm under, trying to bring your shoulder to the center of your mat if you can, and then relax. So a few more breaths here. Now you can come to center. So we'll stay in wide knee child's pose at center with the option partway through to come into frog, even just for a couple of breaths. So stay as you are for now, just in wide knee child's pose. So you can stay there, or if you'd like to come into frog for a little bit, the feet will go out to the sides, the knees stay out wide, and then you come forward onto the elbows. And if you went into frog, you can just slowly make your way back. And then take your time to bring the knees in a little bit. And then we'll come out of widening child's pose. Legs out in front, always taking your time when you're transitioning in and out of these poses, moving slowly with awareness. You can come right onto your back. Just extend your legs. Take your legs a little bit wider. Take your arms wider if that feels okay for you. Just relax and notice any sensations that come up in your body. Notice the release of the pose. Now you can settle yourself into Shavasana. Having any props that you may like. Blanket, bolster, socks, whatever you need. Find your comfortable position. Stay with this nice releasing type of breath for a few rounds as you settle into Shavasana. So every exhale, just letting go, feeling that release and feeling your body just become heavier and heavier on the floor. Same thing with the mind. If your mind starts wandering off, guide it to the breath. Using your breath to help you settle. And whenever you feel settled, just let that go and relax. Bring your awareness to your breath, to your body. Bring some movement into your fingers and your toes. Roll to your side when you're ready, pausing there. And help yourself to seat it. Sit up and close your eyes. Hands together at your heart. Thank you so much for practicing Yin Yoga with me. Namaste.